Hebrews, Hebrews. This is our Prophets of Awakening. This is our Israelite Advanced Bible Study night, Tuesday night, the 30th of July, 2024. Okay. What the topic inside the room is Israel's Exodus and how it ties to Project 2025. Okay. We're going to examine that. Okay. You can go to our YouTube channel, The Prophets of Awakening, and check out our videos. We have over 1,000 videos that's packed with information. You can check them out. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving through the videos, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It'll be greatly appreciated. We on the air on Tuesday nights, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday night, and we have 2 Shabbat classes on Saturday. Monday, Tuesday through Friday, we on from 7 to 9 Central Time on Prophets of Awakening. Friday nights, we on from 7 to 9, but we on Clubhouse. And our Clubhouse room is non-Messianic Conversations. And then we have 2 Shabbat classes every Shabbat, every Saturday. That's when the morning class is from 10 to 12 a.m. Central Time. Then we close out the Shabbat from 6 to 7 in the evening, our evening Shabbat class. So any one of those classes, you can come in and join us. We greatly appreciate it. So with that being said, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament. Don't subscribe to the New Testament, the God that's in the New Testament, the God of the Gentiles, and don't subscribe to the apostles or Paul. Okay? Shalom and welcome to this channel, and welcome to our Israelite Advanced Bible Study. Okay? We have we're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, Psalms. Then we have some current events that bring everybody up to par with prophecy and global events that's transpiring. And then we have some need to know information. And then we open it up for some Q&A. Anybody have any questions or comments about anything, we can deal with it. Then we're going to our topic, which is how Israel's Exodus is tied to the 2025 project. Okay, so with that being said, this moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts and all he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Oh Lord, we come this day, bow down, honoring you and praising you and believing in you. We thank you for your wisdom and knowledge that you have poured out upon us up until this point. We see you now within the Holy Scriptures, oh Lord, and we trust you with all our heart and all our soul. Keep not that silence any longer, for we need you so very much in these final days. So we ask you to shine forth on our enemies and yours with your great power and glory. Peace be unto you. Okay. So with that being said, we deal with some current events. Hold on 1 minute. Got a song. Sorry about that. I'll read a song right quick. Skipped over that. Okay. I'll read Psalm 38. It's a proud, repentant heart. It's a song of David. O Lord, rebuke me not in thy wrath, neither chasten me in thy hot displeasure. For thine arrows stick fast in me, and thine hand presses me sore. There is no soundness in my flesh because of thine anger, neither is there any rest in my bones because of my sins. For my iniquities are gone over mine head as a heavy burden. They are too heavy for me. My wounds stink and are corrupt because of my foolishness. I am troubled. I am bowed down greatly. I go mourning all the day long. My loins are filled with a loathsome with diseases, and there is no soundness in my flesh. I am feeble and sore broken. I have roared by reason of the disquietness of my heart. Lord, all my desires is before thee, and my groanings is not hid from thee. My heart panteth, my strength faileth me. As for the light of mine eyes, it also is gone from me. My lovers and my friends stand aloft uh, from my from my sword, and my kinsmen stand afar off. They also uh, that seek after my life lay snares for me, and they that seek my hurt, speak mischief things, and imagine deceit all the day long. But I, as a deaf man, heard not, and I was as a dumb man that opened not his mouth. Thus I was as a man that heareth not, and his whose mouth are not or no reproofs. For in thee, O Lord, do I hope. Thou wilt hear, O Lord my God. I have said, hear me, lest otherwise they should rejoice over me when my foot slippeth. They magnify themselves against me, for I'm ready to halt, and my sorrows is continually before me. For I will declare mine iniquity, and I will be sorry for my sins. For my enemies are lively, and they are strong, and they that hate me wrongfully are multiplied. They also that render evil for good are mine adversaries, because I follow the things that good is. Forsake me not, O Lord, O my God, be not far from me, and make haste to help me, O Lord my God. So, like I was saying before, when you understand what has happened to us and how did we get JC as our God, this is a prime example right here, Psalm 33. You notice that uh, the difference in David and Saul and all the other kings that was in Israel, uh, David had a repentant heart. He had no problem with acknowledging what he had done and repenting to God, turning from his wickedness and turning back to God. So this is how you get JC, the story right here. The story right here, all these characteristics that you read in this Psalm 38, they took these, put them on JC. For example, it says, uh, 13, but I, as a deaf man, heard not, and I was a dumb man that opened not my mouth. So that's one of the things they want to say JC is. But we know he was talking all over the place. He was on cross talking. He was talking all over the place. They want to say that they wanted to portray him like this, which is who David was, right? And Moses too. That's why the Lord of hosts had to step in, because they was men of a calm spirit. So anyway, 14 says, thus was a man, thus as a man that heareth not, and in whose mouth are no reproof. For in thee, O Lord, do I hope. Thou wilt hear, O my Lord God. For I said, hear me, lest otherwise they should rejoice over me. When my foot slippeth, they magnify themselves against me. So they took this right here, and everybody was against David. All the people, all the nations around wanted David dead. They wanted David off the throne. And so they took that when they went to the story with JC. Everybody trying to kill JC. But the narrative came from here, from David. That's how they could come back to Psalms and got you thinking that David, and like you see, we see right here, the weight of Israel was on David. But they want you to think that David is speaking about somebody to come, Jesus. But David is actually crying out to the Lord on behalf of the weight and the pressure that we put on him as the Messiah. Okay? Any comments? Okay, so like I said before, we go through some current events. Okay.
97% of Americans have no idea about what is coming, because what is about to happen is your city is going to struggle. Your city, businesses are going to shut down. People are not going to be able to pay their rent, pay their mortgage, their car payments. Banks will leave the city. Businesses will start to lay people off. Things will go from bad to worse. It's going to happen soon. So I want to break down what's going on, what most people don't realize is even coming, and what you should do to prepare for it. So make sure you watch this entire video, and I'll explain exactly what is going on. But all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoyed these daily updates. And now, let's begin. If you live within 2 hours of a major city, then you need to watch this video because experts are predicting what is going to happen next. Now, this means all major cities. This could be Seattle, Washington, Spokane, Washington. This could be Portland, Oregon. This could be New York City, Miami, Florida, Dallas, Texas, Houston, Texas, Los Angeles, California, Denver, Colorado. Right? The list seriously goes on and on. It could be Atlanta, Georgia. Okay? We don't know exactly what is going to happen, but experts are predicting this is actually going to go really bad. Here's why. These are the things that are happening within your city that most people are simply brushing aside. Just listen to this. Evictions are going up. We are seeing evictions go up because of multiple reasons. People are trying to keep their home. Right? This is one of the biggest expenses you're going to have. This is what most people are just trying to focus on is keep my home, keep a roof over my head, keep my family fed. That's it. Not pay their car payment, not pay their credit card payment, not pay their utilities, okay? Not pay their student loans or their medical debt. Those are all being brushed off. But the key is evictions. Why are they going up? Well, they're going up for multiple reasons. Number one, landlords are trying to raise rents in order to make up for losses because of property taxes going up and insurance going up as well. Well, as a result, as they raise the cost of that apartment, raise the rents, what's happening is people can no longer afford it. However, they're waiting. They're trying to be patient, okay? This is turning into a problem. Evictions are up in some major cities as well. Las Vegas, Nevada, their evictions are up. People are struggling because of the economy around it. And as businesses start to lay off employees, as people move away from the city, what's going to happen is, again, evictions will go up. People are simply going to leave because they can't afford to live within that city or so close to said city. Now, here's another one. Schools are closing down. Mm-hmm. I've talked about this. I talked about this in the spring, talked about this in early summer, where schools were going to shut down. We're going to see schools and school employees get moved from one location to another. School buildings would be completely shut down. And the reason for that is because we don't have the money that we once did. Okay? Enrollment for public schools is down. As a result, these public schools are not getting as much money from the state and the federal government. As a result, right, they have to shut down. There's no other option. Again, your city is not going to survive this. As we see evictions increase and people leave, as we see schools shut down and people leave and move, your city is going to struggle. You're going to see some major cities and you're going to see this all over. It's not just be on the west or the east. It's going to be all over the United States, where cities are actually pretty much going bankrupt. They're operating at a deficit, not a surplus, a deficit. We've seen this with some major cities recently, and things are going to go from bad to worse. Here's another one. Property taxes. These are going unpaid. We're also...
Well, you know you have choices when it comes to home improvement products.
Anybody seeing that right now? Anybody have comments on that? Okay. Okay.
Happening, but it's troubling, where property taxes are slowly going up. In some cases, they are jumping because of values, but property taxes are going unpaid. Property taxes go unpaid. These properties will go up for auction. They will be auctioned off. People will buy them. Somebody else will come in. Problem is, the people that were currently living in the house, what happens with them? What happens with their assets, with the stuff that they have there? It's going to be a big issue. But here's another one. This is what most people don't realize. Over the past 4 years, we have received billions and billions of dollars, okay? Actually, trillions of dollars in additional stimulus and assistance. Well, what we know is that the federal government has given us so much assistance, so much money to different states, cities, and different jurisdictions, that we have used some of that money to create different programs and services and things for our residents. Well, guess what? That money has dried up. But the programs that we created within the states and the counties and the cities, these weren't just one and done programs. Many of these were yearly programs that they wanted to bring back every single year. Here's the issue. And we've seen this with after school programs. We've seen this with homeless shelters and even state tax credits, where we have seen these programs pretty much pop up out of nowhere with some just magical funding. Well, guess what? The funding only worked for maybe 1, 2, or 3 years. We're now starting to see those programs run out of money. So guess what's happening? The cities, the counties, the states are asking for more. We need more money because we have to go and solve this problem. We need to put more money into this program. There's no money. Those programs are going to end. So think about this. The after-school programs that your children are going to, they end. Well, now you have to pay for daycare. You have to get off work early to take care of your kids. Or maybe the homeless shelters, they have to get shut down. Maybe your city converted a local rec center to a homeless shelter. We've seen that all over the United States. Well, guess what? Eventually, that money is going to run out. The homeless shelter is not bringing anything in. So what do? Convert it back? Well, that's probably going to take some more money. This is why some cities are not going to survive what is happening right now. Evictions are going up, schools are closing, property taxes going unpaid, and just the federal government not giving us additional money because COVID is over. Well, we're going to figure this out, but we're going to see very quickly that things are not as good as we once thought they were. And the reason why I bring this to your attention is because the majority of Americans aren't prepared for this. Over 90% of people have no clue what is about to happen. And this is why I want you to really listen. You need to be prepared. Okay, put more money aside in savings. Okay, pay off debt. Pay off credit cards. Pay off the things that are eating into your savings. Get another income stream coming in, whether it's something online, some social media thing, an online business, you work another job, you sell a car, whatever you need to do. Put more money into savings, bring in some additional income. Okay, lower your expenses and be prepared for things to get worse. I've been telling people this for the past year. We're slowly starting to see it. And it wasn't until just recently where the stock market started to really sell off. Okay? And this is where some people were telling me that, you know what? It's happening. We see it. We see it now, but it's not too late yet. But if you wait until next 4 to 6 months, it could be a little bit late. So,
okay, any comments on that? Okay. All I can say is prepare. So you're looking at everything he's saying is happening. So
is when BRICS had to secretly carry out its plan of de-dollarization and launching a new currency and a financial system. Until now, BRICS never confessed to developing a financial system that will replace SWIFT. However, secrecy is no longer the plan of action. BRICS and its members have now openly announced that they are launching a financial system similar to SWIFT, a Western-controlled banking system. Russia is leading BRICS in this plan, And believe us, the fall of the United States dollar is nearer than we think. That's because things have become official now, and BRICS has revealed how it will be doing that and destroying the USD forever. So, how will this new BRICS financial system look like, and how will it impact the West, and especially major sectors in the United States and the economy? Well, if you have been hearing about the BRICS financial system until now, then watch this video to get the final update on what has finally happened, which will change the fate of the West and the United States forever.
The key to fast and accurate repairs is having tools.
Started. Recently, we have got the news that the BRICS alliance is working on its own financial messaging system to bypass the Western-dominated SWIFT system. And this will transform global trade completely. However, most people don't know why bypassing or replacing SWIFT is a goal at all. Well, SWIFT is short for the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication and is a massive network that helps banks around the globe exchange information about financial transactions securely and reliably. In essence, it functions as a communication system for banks. When one bank wants to send money to another, it uses SWIFT to send a detailed message about the transaction. Actually, this message is money because when banks send money, they actually don't make a physical transfer. They know they can trust the SWIFT message and can get money whenever they want using the same message. Each bank and financial institution in the SWIFT network has a unique identifier known as a SWIFT code or bank identifier code. This system ensures that the funds reach the correct destination. The messages transmitted through SWIFT are highly secure, making it nearly impossible for unauthorized individuals to intercept or tamper with them. The Western world, particularly the United States and Europe, holds significant sway over the financial system largely because of their control over SWIFT. The main offices and key decision makers of SWIFT are based in Western countries, which grants them substantial influence over how SWIFT operates. Not only that, but SWIFT uses USD as its currency, giving all power to the United States. This power comes from the fact that if the United States wants, it can freeze the assets of any person, company, bank, or even entire country. That's what it did with Russia, besides imposing sanctions. By cutting off certain countries from the SWIFT network, the West can effectively isolate those nations financially. So, before the West does so with BRICS and uses it as a leverage, BRICS has decided to do it by itself. BRICS' new system, designed to mirror SWIFT, will provide BRICS with significant leverage in cross-border transactions. Currently, SWIFT dominates these transactions, but BRICS plans to operate without relying on the US dollar. Russia has highlighted that this move will create a new economic reality for BRICS countries, enabling them to use local currencies for trade and reduce their dependence on the dollar. Alexander Babikov, deputy chairman of the Russian State Duma, mentioned that BRICS' financial agenda is centered around establishing a system tailored for the alliance's countries. This system will be anchored by state-owned banks capable of clearing settlements between BRICS nations and managing the associated banking rules. In other words, they will not be dependent on SWIFT. And India is not coming slow on this as well. Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Africa's geopolitics, economy, and changing landscape. Let's continue now. Despite being a United States ally, India is a BRICS member and wants a new financial system desperately. That's because it's the world's biggest democracy and is the world's most populated country. Relying on a financial system created by the West makes India dependent. India fears that geopolitical changes might bring sanctions, limiting what India really wants to do. Even there are chances the reason why India is in a US-led camp is to avoid sanctions and suspicions. However, once an independent financial system is in place, India might decide to move away from the US. Therefore, the quest to get an independent financial system that uses local currencies becomes an inevitable choice. Naren Roy, the director of the Indian Institute of Science, has expressed strong support for this initiative, highlighting the desire for a payment mechanism that operates independently of the US dollar. According to Roy, the proposed payment system has the potential to challenge the dollar's dominance in global transactions. By establishing a system that does not rely on the US dollar, the BRICS alliance hopes to create a more balanced and diverse global financial landscape. This move is part of a larger trend among developing nations aiming to enhance their economic independence and mitigate the influence of US monetary policy on their economies.
Okay, any comments on that? Okay. Got some need to know information right here. I'll comment on these videos in a minute. We're going somewhere with it. Just some need to know information.
Raising $4 million for the Harris campaign. White dudes say they apparently have a lot of money. Watch this. Tonight, tens of thousands of self-proclaimed white dudes for Harris joined a Zoom call to rally support for her. It even featured a cameo from the dude himself.
I accepted the invitation. I was brought to the party not so much as being white, and I certainly am, but because I'm a dude, you know. So a friend sent me this email today with your hat on there, and I said, oh, I gotta have one of those. I qualify, man. I'm white, I'm a dude, and I'm for Harris. Kamala is just so certainly our girl, you know. I can see her being president. I'm so excited. A woman president, man, how exciting.
We didn't pick the name. They did. Others embracing it. That was Jeff Bridges, the Hollywood star, who says, yeah, I love it. I wanted to be on the call, and I'm one of those white dudes. So per him.
At Consumer Cellular, we pride ourselves on giving you fast, reliable.
NBC News, famous white dudes, including the actor Jeff Bridges, who played the dude, rallied in support of Vice President Kamala Harris, who, if elected, would be the first female president in the inaugural event of a new group called White Dudes for Harris's Monday night. The star-studded Zoom call attracted more than 180,000 participants and raised almost $4 million, according to organizers, who are themselves a group of white dude Democratic political operatives. The names are catchy. The money is long, folks.
With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show.
Let's give you more on this. Over the nearly 3.5-hour call, they said they sold more than 5,700 white dudes for Harris trucker hats. Not the pointy ones, joked Ross Morales. Raquetto, you get it. Not the pointy ones, I think we know. One of the organizers referring to less PC gatherings of white dudes like the KKK. Throughout American history, when white men organized, it was often with pointy hats on, said Raquetto, before he added how proud he was of the group of white men, who he said are too rarely heard from. I would like one of those trucker caps. I don't know how I could get one. We'll ask Doc when he joins the call if anybody can get us one weekend, right? I just want to put it up on my shelf with the other things to kind of memorialize this occasion, this momentous occasion. There's more. Bridges, who played the dude in the cult classic The Big Lebowski, was excited when he heard about the gathering of his fellow white dudes. I qualify, man, of white emotionally, and how they feel alienated from other white men who are the core of Trump's support. Black women have been showing up to vote for progressive white dudes for generations, and it's time we show up for them, said Broadway actor Rory O'Malley, who originated the role of Elder McKinney in the Book of Mormon. So the white dudes on this call taking responsibility, chronicling some of America's history, and giving kudos to Black women who have saved the country time and time again, saying, you know what, we can do more. We are going to do more. We'll see if it lasts.
Okay. Anybody heard anything about that? First we had the Black women came together on Zoom and raised millions of dollars. Then we had the Black men came together and raised millions of dollars for Harris. Now you got white dudes.
Yeah, I heard about it. I heard about the the sisters, man, and who had raised that money. But I didn't hear about the dude.
Okay. Yeah, they didn't open up a can of worms, man. They can't put it back, the ad back. I mean, close the box back up. Somebody else had something? Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna open it up for some Q&A. Anybody have any questions, comments about anything? The dialogue you want to talk about? Before we go into this topic? Okay.
Shalom. No, sir, not this time.
Okay. So I'll play this here before we go into the topic. So it was pretty interesting. Like I said, all around this place we can see it's going down. Nobody seems to want to deal with that. Okay.
Has been, the standard for keeping the dollar the global, or reserve currency. The U.S. has gone to war and like killed millions of people to defend that. There are cases where, the U.S. government, or rather U.S. empire, is willing to go to extreme lengths to defend the dollar. So the idea that they would just sit idly by and just like let dollarization happen without having some sort of plan in the works, especially knowing that they couldn't keep this going indefinitely and that the world was going to move at some point to a post-oil economy. I think it's important to keep in mind that these people have been very serious and played very dirty.
The recent speculation surrounding the petrodollar agreement between Saudi Arabia and the US has sparked debate over its validity. While some reports suggest the deal is ending, others dismiss this as fake news. There's even speculation that such a deal never existed, despite Saudi Arabia conducting most of its oil transactions in US dollars. The rumors gained traction from Chinese social media posts in June, claiming that Riyadh had entered a 50-year agreement with Washington, commonly called the petrodollar agreement. The term petrodollars might sound familiar. It refers to US dollars earned by oil exporting countries through the sale of crude oil, a concept that gained prominence in the mid-1970s. The origins of the petrodollar system date back to 1974, amid an oil crisis in the US. As Bloomberg reported, this crisis was triggered by OPEC sanctions against the US for its support of Israel during the Yom Kippur War. Prices soared, and the US needed a stable oil supply, leading to the agreement with Saudi Arabia to conduct oil transactions in dollars. Whitney Webb, founder of Unlimited Hangout, addresses this issue by highlighting the strength of the US dollar system, which lies in its ability to maintain purchasing power globally despite domestic inflation. This is evident as countries like Argentina turn to stablecoins over their inflating currencies. Whitney views the potential decline of the petrodollar system not as a random event, but as a calculated shift with profound implications. Historically, the US has fiercely defended the dollar's dominance, even resorting to military actions like the 2003 Iraq invasion and 2011 Libya regime change in response to challenges to the petrodollar, underscoring its importance to US economic strategy. Given this history, Whitney suggests that the US will unlikely allow the petrodollar's supremacy to diminish without a fight. As the world moves towards a post-oil economy, the US is expected to implement strategies to maintain its economic influence, possibly through new financial systems and digital currencies. We will present clips from Whitney Webb's interview. But before we do, if you want more videos like this, please hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell for more updates. Thank you, and enjoy the video.
Well, on the case of Saudi Arabia dumping the petrodollar, you could argue that Mohammed bin Salman for some time has been moving away from the dollar well before that official announcement. Basically, when he came to power, he was trying to move Saudi Arabia to a post-oil economy. He launched his Vision 2030 plan and made overtures there that he was going to try and move Saudi Arabia away from oil and sort of make it a leader in the fourth industrial revolution, including in fintech. And we've also seen like other big actors in Middle Eastern oil specifically, like in the United Arab Emirates, for example, do kind of essentially the same thing. So I think, it's something that sort of, has been planned for some time. And what's interesting is that MBS, as soon as he came to power and during the Trump administration, was very close to Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who was also, we know from emails that have since come out promoting the idea of like stable coins, like an official US dollar stable coin. He actually, I think it was like a Sam Altman blog post that he shared with Steve Mnuchin of the Treasury Department, talking about, the USD coin, which, this is before Circle launched USDC, but interesting. So it's very possible that these discussions were being had like some time ago, that it's not as recent as, it may appear to be based on, headlines that have been coming out recently. Yeah, all I really want to add to that is that it's important to keep in mind that like when the petrodollar system has been, the standard for keeping the dollar the global, or reserve currency, the U.S. has gone to war and like killed millions of people to defend that. One of the likely motivations, obviously there's more than one, but one of the key ones in invading Iraq, I would argue, was the fact that Saddam Hussein, not long before the invasion, had started selling oil in euros instead of dollars and made a lot more money, showing by example to other, other OPEC members that they could make more money selling in different currencies than the dollar. And then, of course, you have the case of Libya in 2011, where Gaddafi was trying to move to a gold-backed currency called the dinar and was selling that to African countries. A lot of which either use dollars or they use, French financial stuff, and that's why you had the U.S. and France essentially lead that regime change operation with devastating consequences for Libya, which used to be the safest country in Africa, then became the most dangerous and has been cited as an example of, or a reason for why, immigration got so out of control in Europe after that point. So there are cases where.
Yeah, so anyway, you see, based on what was being said and what's going on, it's not just all of a sudden we got to this point. It's been getting like this here. Like I said, these are the things that these people are looking at on a day-to-day basis, whereas we ain't there. We ain't looking at it. So they've been knowing that they're looking at this place going down. So this 2020 project, 2025 project didn't come out of the blue. It's like a last ditch effort to try to save what they created over here in the West. So you say, well, what are you talking about? Well, if you go back to when I can't think of his name. It's one of those generals right before the Civil War, or right after the Civil War. He came and gave us the blacks 40 acres and a mule. Then the rednecks, which is the same people today, the children of them same people that's concocted this 2025 program. He came right back with Andrew Jackson, and he took the mule and the 40 acres back because they didn't want us to have nothing, so they took it back. Immediately after that, with the Civil War and all that. Immediately after that was when all that time frame right there, turmoil was going on. Well, we back here again. That's how we go to Egypt. We was in a hard bondage. Our forefathers cried out. He sent Moses, and he cut the hard bondage off. But before he cut the hard bondage off, Pharaoh took away the straw, told him to make the bricks without no straw. And then after that, they was delivered. Same thing right here with the Emancipation and Proclamation. The hard bondage was cut off. We still was under the curses and everything, but the hard bondage was cut off. Now it's time for us to exit this place. So you shouldn't be surprised they got a plan to cut that off. As you can see, the people is willing to let us go. These same people you see on these webinars and all that, they're jumping up behind Camilla Harris, they have the mindset to let us go, because that's what we want to do. But this group over here, the Heritage Foundation and Trump and the extreme left, they want us to stay here. They got a plan. 2020, that's what 2025 all about. It's time for us to go, and they don't want us to go. Same thing with Andrew Jackson. It was time for the hard bunnies to stop, but they didn't want it to stop. So this is what it's all about. This whole thing is all about. They see what's happening, and they're trying to cut it off. So before we get started, for the people that don't really know the ramifications of what's getting ready to happen if the Republicans win, we're gonna play this, and then we'll go into some things in the future that's gonna happen. Then I'll go to some stuff I already talked about to bring you up to par.
Tonight on the readout.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
Do you believe if Donald Trump were elected next year that he would try to stay in office beyond a second term? That he would never leave office?
There's no question.
Do you think he would try to stay in power forever?
Absolutely.
The stakes could not be higher. Trump says if he wins, you won't have to vote anymore. Tonight, we are laying out the dangers of Project 2025, the manifesto that would give him that authoritarian power, limit your rights, and force you and your family to change the way you live your life. And we begin this special episode of The Readout tonight with a dire warning for our democracy. Over the next hour, I will lay out.
So what you're looking at is what's being laid out is going to cause our exodus.
The greatest threat to the American democratic experiment in modern times. And it's called Project 2025. With just 99 days till Election Day, and with voting starting a lot sooner than that in some states like Pennsylvania, where early voting begins in September, it is imperative that every American understand what Project 2025 is about and how it would affect every single one of us if it was ever enacted. Tonight is just the first of many nights where we will dig into this dangerous plan. And I really want you to listen, learn, take notes, and share it with everyone you know. And if you look on your screen, you'll notice that QR code where you can find our segments on Project 2025 so you can share them. So let's start with the basics. This is the 922-page mega manifesto. We printed the whole thing out, and it's brought to you by one of the most conservative DC think tanks, the Heritage Foundation. This is the culmination of nearly 50 years of work that began during the Reagan administration. Broadly, according to Heritage President Kevin Roberts, this is a Christian nationalist plan to end what he calls the Great Awakening and, quote, rescue our kids, reclaim our culture, revive our economy.
Notice what he said, the Great Awakening.
And defeat the anti-American left at home and abroad. This manifesto, which they call a book, is a specific roadmap on how to accomplish that by giving a Republican president unprecedented power. They do that by slashing the federal government's footprint, gutting regulations, slashing the money we spend on children, students, the elderly, the environment, education, and reproductive health care. Every single chapter describes in excruciating.
So let's look at that right quick. I was just telling you how they saw what was happening back then. It was time for us to do the money they was making off us, the slave labor and all that. It was time. It was time for it to be cut off. And when it got cut off, they gave us the acres and the mules and all that. They came up with a plan to take it back. Same thing right here now. Well, all the things that we didn't accomplish from the time that the last Civil War was over with to now, these people would make America great again is what 2025 is all about, taking us back. Just like they took back the 20 acres and a mule and the land, they want to take everything back now, take us back to where we was at. That's what this 2025 is about. Because they see, like I said before, it's that time. And they see it on our faces, they see it on our actions, It's time. We're ready to go.
Detail how to reorder our society by dismantling federal agencies and limiting the federal government's ability to help protect you, the American people, from predatory businesses, excessive taxes, poisoned air and water, you name it. Lately, former President Donald Trump and his campaign, fearful of how unpopular Project 2025 is, have claimed they have nothing to do with it.
I don't know what the hell it is. It's Project 25. He's involved in Project, and then they read some of the things, and they are extreme. I mean, they're seriously extreme. But I don't know anything about it. I don't want to know anything about it.
Yeah, but that's not the complete picture. Here's Trump promoting the Heritage Foundation and their little project just 2 years ago.
Heritage does such an incredible job, and they're going to lay the groundwork and detailed plans for exactly what our movement will do and what your movement will do when the American people give us a colossal mandate to save America. And that's coming. That's coming.
Here's the other truth. Roughly 140 individuals who worked in Trump's administration are affiliated with Project 2025, including 6 former cabinet secretaries and 4 people who were nominated as ambassadors by Trump. The others were either key figures from his first transition, close Oval Office allies, or mid-level agency officials. There's Russell Vought, Trump's former Office of Management and Budget Director, who wrote Chapter 2 in the section titled Taking the Reins of Federal Government. In this chapter, he lays out how to consolidate power around a president's political vision. He explains how you can bypass Congress and only fund projects that ensure consistency with the president's agenda. He is rumored to be Trump's choice for chief of staff. And according to Politico, he and Trump speak once a month. Vought hopes his close relationship with Trump will elevate Christian nationalism as a focal point of a second Trump administration. Then there's Roger Severino, a former Trump administration DOJ official, who wrote Chapter 14 about the Department of Health and Human Services and how to restrict abortion access across the country. Severino is a dogmatic anti-abortion militant who strongly believes that an America that allows abortion cannot survive.
Okay. Any comments?
Become a pioneer of
Okay.
The federal government has an absolute role in this. There cannot be now 2 Americas. One America where unborn life is protected and another where unborn life is treated as the equivalent of medical waste.
Yeah.
Right? That is untenable. This has to be settled nationally. A house divided against itself cannot stand.
Yeah.
We can't have 2 classes of Americans.
In Project 2025, he advocates for using the regulatory powers of the Department of Health and Human Services, the Food and Drug Administration, and the Department of Justice and the National Institutes of Health to end access to mifepristone, prohibit stem cell research, and create, quote, pro-life task force in the White House. There's also Richard Hanania, who helped contribute to Project 2025. Now, he's not a recognizable name, but he's a popular conservative activist with fans like J.D. Vance, Peter Thiel, and Elon Musk, who just so happens to be a noted racist and sexist. The Huffington Post reported that Hanania used a fake pen name to write articles and social media posts that expressed support for eugenics and forced sterilization of, quote, low IQ people, whom he argued were most often Black. And he dreamed about a white awakening, which is when whites en masse realize that they are superior to non-whites and that they'd be better off abandoning multiracial democracy for something resembling a whites-only ethno-state.
Yeah.
While those guys are cooking up plans for how the government would work and who it would work for, John McEntee, Trump's former body man and former director of his presidential personnel office, is working with Project 2025 to build the enforcement army. He is currently a senior advisor at Project 2025 with the single task of creating a resume database of dedicated MAGA warriors to staff up every agency. Well, the ones that they don't shutter completely, like the Department of Education, on day one. Here's what McEntee wrote when he took the job, quote, "The presidential personnel database will be of extraordinary value for the 47th president because we are doing a lot of the incoming administration's most important work ahead of time," unquote. Then there is Trump's running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, a self-described radicalized Republican who is a champion of Kevin Roberts and his plan to turn the Heritage Foundation into the de facto institutional home of Trumpism. Here you see Vance and Roberts together on a panel last year at an event hosted by the Intercollegiate Institute, which is a conservative organization for college students. This particular discussion was about regime change and the future of liberalism. Guess what else? Kevin Roberts has a book coming out in September, and J.D. Vance wrote the foreword to that book in which he praises Roberts' vision for America. He also wrote, "We are now all realizing that it's time to circle the wagons and load the muskets. In the fights that lay ahead, these ideas are an essential weapon." Vance's current political idea.
Okay, anybody have comments on that? Anybody did any research on Project 2025?
Shalom, everyone. No, sir, I
Okay.
have not done any research, but they seem to be getting very bold with their thoughts. I mean, they're not holding back. They're getting bold and start talking. The way they're talking, they're not caring what their owners are going to look at them as what they're doing. They're being bold.
Okay. Anybody else? Yeah, I'm gonna play this right here. I gotta find somebody got something. Play this right here. Man, this is a previous video that I played. Let me get it. Okay. Yeah, so like I said before, everything that ran out. When you start looking at what's happening, these 99 days they're talking about, it's over with. It's not going to be the same. Okay. And like I said, this thing just started out the blue. It's been in process all the time. Let me get this. Okay. Yeah, here we go. So I made this video like I think 2-3 years ago, but it's coming relevant now. Remember, these people operating 50 years ahead of us.
You ain't seen nothing yet. Obama's gonna take away your citizenship. Obama's gonna take away the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment of the Constitution, and he's gonna send you and all other black people. Obama with Bill Gates and with Bill Clinton are gonna send you and all other black people to either two places. You can stay here in the Western Hemisphere, and he's gonna send you to Haiti, but he's gonna round y'all up from South Central Los Angeles. He's gonna round y'all up from the mega churches down in Dallas. He's gonna round y'all up from the mega churches in Atlanta. He's gonna round y'all up from New York, from Chicago, and he's gonna send y'all back to Africa. That's right. Bill Gates wants y'all out of America. Mark Zuckerberg wants y'all out of America. George Soros wants y'all out of America. And I want to tell you something, my friends. And not too many years from now, black people are going to be sent back to Africa. Something that many say
should have been done shortly after the Civil War. Well, Obama is going to be the one that put the policy in place, destroy the effectiveness of the Constitution, take over all your resources and your property. The National Defense Authorization Act, that anybody can be arrested. What that means is this: all black people are gonna be arrested and gonna be sent back to the West Coast or to the Sahara in Africa or Sub-Saharan Africa, and there'll be nothing you can do about it. You'll have no constitution to call upon. No lawyer can defend you. There'll be no congressman, nor senator, nor judge that will hear your case. You run around here, Bishop Jackson, with Jesse and Al and all these cross-dressers, all of these transvestites, all of these race baiters and race slicksters and hustlers. You run around here and you let the devil get on the throne of the White House. And now, in not too many years, you go read the National Defense Resource Act. Obama owns all property. You read the National Defense Authorization Act. Anybody can.
Yeah, Obama set up this. You go back and look at his policies. He the one brought about everything we're dealing with now. He was the one they used him to set all this up. What we're looking at now.
Be arrested, picked up at any time, and sent to any country. And that is not for white people. It's for black people. They're going to send you back to Africa, and it will solve America's economic problems. It'll solve
all the problems we just talked about, all the videos we just watched, all of what's going on with America. This was going to solve it. So they believe.
America's crime problems. It will solve America's industrial problems. He's going to send you black people back to Africa. The National Defense Authorization Act, the destruction of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment of the Constitution. Obama is the son of Satan. I repeat, get down on your knees. Don't lead a press conference to rebuke Obama, but call black preachers and black churches now. You better hear me. You better hear me. You better hear what I have to say. You will be within the next 5 years on the west coast of Africa, meeting with your ancestors that sold you more than 300 years ago. You are going back to Africa, black preacher.
And then some. So check this out. I know some people may not heard that video post. Some of them have. But so here go another one. This is tied to Project 2025 right here. We gotta bring this up, so let me get it. Okay, hold on. Like I said, all this stuff is unfolding right in front of our face, but dots ain't being connected. Okay. Okay. No feedback. Okay.
Shalom. Oh.
Okay.
Yes. But I may be wrong. But what puzzles me is that the thing about him saying everyone going back to Africa, no lawyer can save you, and those things. So
right.
As I'm looking at it, the immigrants coming in is going to replace the black people, as he says, going out of this country in what form, and then it just, I don't know, what year did he say this happened?
Well,
I mean, what year?
He said not in the near future.
Yes, sir. I know, but what year was he saying it?
What, I think 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like I said before, at that time, we ain't know nothing about no Project 25, but you look at it, connect the dots, you can see exactly what it is. So let's check this out. Like I said, all this is coerced around Donald Trump winning this 2025 election. So this is what Trump just said.
Pay attention to the bearded man in the picture. The beard was actually painted on. When the wife found out, her jaw dropped.
Okay.
So,
here you go.
Stop doing carp. The deacon with the Genesis back at y'all with another one. This just in at a live speech today on July 20, what is it? July 26th. Trump just announced he will ban Black Hebrew Israelites. Let's take a look, y'all.
So all this time to try the 2025.
Just tunes outside of the clinic. I will create a new federal task force on fighting anti-Christian bias. And its mission will be to investigate all forms of illegal discrimination, harassment, and persecution against Christians in America. The weaponization of law enforcement is the greatest threat to freedom in our country, and nobody knows it better than me.
As you can see, he said he's going to ban the blitzing of the churches as we, the Israelites, do. We practice our First Amendment right. We exercise our First Amendment right, and that's the freedom of speech, and it will not be impeded on. As you can see, what is shaping up to be biblical prophecy, that, the church is being persecuted, it's being persecuted. We don't hate our brothers and sisters who are caught up in that white supremacist cult known as Christianity. But we go there and we challenge them on the doctrine in which the Bible says to contend for the faith and thy cause. And so you see how this narrative is going to be spun. Oh, the Israelites, the Black Hebrew Israelites, they're persecuting the church, and white Jesus, the blue-eyed, blonde-haired Caesar Borgia Jesus, and they're going to vilify us and demonize us. But this is all biblical prophecy. You see, the Bible says that there will be a time of Jacob's trouble, and this will be a time such as never before, and that the Israelites will be persecuted. Not an organized religion and business known as Christianity. But see, if he is elected, you know what's coming down the pipe. He's showing his horns, and those horns slowly start to poke out of the dog wig. All right? Let's take a listen again and see what he said.
So remember what we listened to the other night when the brother said that November 5th, if he lose, you need to be somewhere around some bunch of black folks. You don't want to be in some suburb bootleg community with a bunch of white folks. When they lose, this their last ditch effort right here. When they lose, all hell gonna break loose. You think January 6th or something. So this my point.
Exactly, and breaking
religious tunes outside of the clinic. I will create
religious groups outside of the clinic. We're the only ones, well, not the only, that major work is going at pro-religious. right? And letting them know that there's life even in the womb. There's life even in the stomach, all right? And that the Most High is vehemently against that, right? So he says he's going to take that away, right? The world knows, y'all seen us out there, right?
Create a new federal task force on fighting anti-Christian bias.
Anti-Christian bias. Now, what can that be defined as? The fact that we don't agree on a Trinity, a virgin birth, or what is it? What is it? What is the bias? So this is all going to have to be codified and specified in law language, right? As he's proposing this legislation that he would pass if elected, right? Let's continue.
And its mission will be to investigate all forms of illegal discrimination, harassment, and persecution against Christians.
Harassment and persecution against Christians
in America. The weaponization of law enforcement is the greatest threat to freedom in our country, and nobody knows it better than me.
So like I said, you've been on this channel for a minute. You should be familiar with the King Alpha plan and Rex 84. Okay, but King Alpha plan is that they got a plan to round up all the blacks within an 8-hour period in case of an emergency. And then Ronald Reagan amended to that King Alpha plan Rex 84. Rex 84 is dealing with the immigrants, the Mexicans. Now we already looking at the problem of them. I mean, them didn't float over here. So all this tied right to 2025 is going back a minute time to all this stuff they already got in place that the average person don't even know nothing about. They're setting it up.
Now you see, the Israelites at pro-choice rallies. That video went viral, 4.1 million views. You can see it again, Israelites versus pro-choice Caucasian woman. This is what he's going to be fighting against. This is what we're up against. This is the devil and the beast system that we are up against, right? But we have faith, and we know that the Most High will protect the true Israelites, who are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the real Jews the Bible speaks of according to history, archaeology, and prophecy, all right? And we give all praises, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and we do so by Shema Mashiach Yahushai. That is the name.
Okay, so you say, what you talking about? Well, let's check this out. That's it. Rex 84. We just saw it come out of Trump's mouth. Yeah, what are you gonna do with the blacks, the Hebrew Israelites? So let's look at this right here, right quick. All this time, 2025, all these the sisters were just talking about all the things they're setting in place, and they already got it in place. And all coalescing around Trump, him coming back in the White House. Okay. Yeah. Okay. There we go.
Last week, the Republican National Committee released their plans for 2024, releasing their extreme immigration plans should former President Donald Trump be reelected in November. And now that there has been an unsuccessful attempt on his life, there appears to be a pretty good chance that he will win the election this year. So whether you're undocumented or you're a documented immigrant, it is time to take these policies seriously and make a plan to protect yourself and your family, because immigrants may be target number one under a new Trump administration. And believe me, I myself have been avoiding looking at this platform, but it is time to get serious. So what specifically does the RNC platform say about immigration? Their biggest target is definitely undocumented immigrants and illegal immigration, but that does not mean that they don't take their own stab at legal migration. And we'll discuss that in just a moment. The first item on their agenda is to seal the border and to stop the migrant invasion, which specifically involves restoring every border policy of the Trump administration, stopping all releases of documented individuals into the country, completing the border wall along the Mexico-U.S. border, shifting massive portions of federal law enforcement to immigration enforcement, using it.
Yeah, so if you was listening, what the sister said was part of that 2025 plan is, Project 2025 is they want to restore a white utopia, right? I don't know if you heard that or not, but that's the objective.
Advanced technology to monitor and secure the border, moving thousands of American troops stationed overseas to the southern border, and deploying the Navy to create a blockade across the water. They essentially plan on spending a massive amount of taxpayer dollars.
Said, they're going to round up. Not too many years, they're going to round up. How you going to round them people up? With the army. So they're going to bring the military from out of Europe. Bring them here, man. These people that they bringing out of Europe, they battle-hardened soldiers. They've been back and forth in 2-3 different conflicts. So they battle-hardened.
In order to prevent anyone from getting in the country without going through our broken legal system. They also make it impossible for people to apply for asylum by reinstating the Remain in Mexico policy, which forces asylum seekers to wait in Mexico while their asylum case is being processed. The last time the Trump administration implemented the Remain in Mexico policy, only 8% of people applying for asylum were able to get legal representation, and only 4% of asylum cases were approved. They will also reinstate Title 42, a public health policy that was supposedly created to prevent the spread of COVID in the United States, but was ultimately used as a pretext to prevent and rapidly expel anyone caught trying to cross the U.S. border. In addition, the RNC plans on using the Alien Enemies Act under the guise of removing gang members and drug dealers from the U.S. However, this is likely to just be a pretense to give the Trump administration the power to remove any immigrants they wish without any due process. The Alien Enemies Act has been used on 3 separate occasions in the U.S. history, and each one of these times were during a time of war. It is a law that gave the former President Franklin Delano Roosevelt permission to round up Japanese non-citizens and put them into internment camps during World War II. If enacted today, it would allow President Trump to detain and deport all non-citizens without due process, including legal residents. The RNC also says that they will bring back the travel ban, but this time they're not using it under the pretense of national security or improved security measures to justify it. Instead, they openly come out and admitted that the real reason for the ban is to keep foreign, Christian-hating, communists, Marxists, and socialists out of America. They also say that they will use extreme vetting to ensure that jihadists and jihadist sympathizers are not admitted. That means anyone they want to label as jihadist sympathizer or communist or Marxist or socialist will be effectively banned from traveling to the US. If the previous ban gave us any indication of what life might be like and who they plan on targeting, chances are good that they will use this to prevent persons from a Muslim majority country from entering the US. Some of the countries that were previously banned through this previous travel ban in 2017 through 2021 included Iran, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Syria, Yemen, North Korea, Venezuela, Sudan, Eritrea, Myanmar, Nigeria, and Tanzania. The second item on their agenda is to carry out the largest deportation operation in American history, which couldn't sound more villainous if they tried. This likely means that they will target the 11 million undocumented individuals living in the US for deportation, including those who have been living and working here for decades. The RNC's specific language says that the Republican Party is committed to sending illegal aliens back home and removing those who have violated our laws. Remember.
Okay, so let's look at it. Like I was saying before, we since being over here, since we was cast out of the land of Israel way back in 143 BC, when Antiochus came, Antiochus Epiphanes cast us out, and we developed this mentality over here. When the truth come, our forefathers, David and all them, when the truth came, they dealt with it, right? So go back to the 2 baskets of figs and see and look at how that played out in Jeremiah 24. So truth coming out, and you finding out that the New Testament, JC, all that's concoction. But because of the last 25 years of brainwashing, the Boule and all these Negroes, they still want to hold on to that. When the Most High he's tearing it down. Like I said, you can't look at all the it's garbage, debris and garbage and urine all the way around the cross, but the cross good. We found out about Serapis and Buddhism and all this stuff. Buddha, what JC got on is a tunica. And you do all that research and you find out all this stuff, how Christianity came into existence, the Council of Nicaea. Garbage all around there, but the cross is pristine. So this how the God of Israel work right here, the one that's in the Old Testament. You're gonna bring you the truth first, then you don't deal with it. You're gonna have to unass it. You're gonna bring this drama on. You're gonna unass it. If it ain't the truth, you're gonna have to unass it. That's what these Negroes are understanding. We see it played out when he brought them out in the wilderness. And they took them when he brought them out in the wilderness in Egypt. But they want you to think that if God is over Israel, you know, you can walk up on him and pluck his beard, or you can stick him in the side with a spear. Nah, that's all illusions, shadows. So we saw what he did. They got ignorant with him in the wilderness. He gave them quail and killed half of them with quail. He opened up the ground and drowned a bunch of them. He had and swallowed up a bunch of them. You're gonna deal with the truth. Sooner or later, you're gonna have to deal with the truth. You know, you see how so many Negroes that you bring the truth come to them, then they think they got options. That's a Gentile mentality. Now, when the truth comes, when he bring the truth to you, it ain't no accident. When he bring it to you, you got to deal with it. You don't deal with it, drama coming. That's what's gonna happen now. Like he said, I spoke it, and I spoke it. I'm gonna bring it to pass. It's not Martin Luther King or Malcolm X, and none of them ain't gonna do it, or Garvey. Same God that brought them out of Egypt is gonna bring us out of here in truth and in righteousness. Not with some bullshit ass God that the Gentiles have created. Everything gonna get exposed. That's where we at. Okay? Because like I said before, we Israel. Isaiah, Amos chapter 11, Hosea chapter 11, verse 1 tell you who the son is. Israel is the son. That's who the son is. So the son, if we the son, we the ones with the 18 missing years. Over here in this beast system they gave us. From the time you born to you 18 years old, you brainwashed. We going to church and dealing with JC to the time you get 18. We the ones brainwashed. We the ones got the missing 18 years. Okay? And so this is what all this drama about. You're going to have to unask it. That New Testament. You ain't going back to the land of Israel with that. It ain't gonna happen. Okay? Yeah. This way it was concocted at, this way it's gonna stay at. We saw them come out of Egypt and they brought the golden calf out with them. They had to unask that golden calf. Okay? Any comments or questions? Like I said before, this project 2025 ain't come out the blue. You go back and look at it, they got other plans and things they got in place that's tied right with it. Like I said, go Google King Albert plan. Go Google Rex 84. Go Google Pastor Manning. And even go to Prophets of Awakening to those earlier videos. Everything you see happening now was already told to you 4 or 5 years ago. Like I said, they have no other choice but to put a black woman in there. That's the only thing. When you see everything that's happening, they trying to usurp this plan right there what these people got. And even if they do, all hell still gonna break loose because they circle the wagons. They see what's happening. They see what they concocted is falling to the ground. It's time up, just like with the Greek Empire and the Medes and Persians and the Babylonians. It rose and it fell. Same thing with this. And now they see that it's going down. They're trying to do everything they can to try to keep it going, but it's over. It was prophesied that he was coming to get us. And he coming to get us. They in the same predicament that Egyptians was in. They had laid their hands on the wrong people. And then when they held them too long, wouldn't let them go. That's where we at. Ain't nothing on this planet gonna stop it. Okay?
Shalom. I wanted to, while you were speaking, and this came to mind, like the curtain has been pulled back. That story about the Wizard of Oz, and he was standing up there and saying, "Don't look, at the man behind the curtain," because they pulled the curtain back and saw him. So that's what's happening now. The curtain is pulled back. Things are coming to fruition. What's going to happen, and there's nothing they can do about it, but continue to act as if things are still in the norm, but it's not.
Right. And they have we got a responsibility as Israelites to search out the matter. They ain't got to search out nothing. Because it's us. It's like we see in Daniel when Daniel said that. Okay, Daniel said that. And let me read it. So it's on us. It's our obligation as Hebrew Israelites, especially as the men. Daniel 9:25 says, let me get it. This right here is a perfect example of thinking like a Hebrew, right? It says Daniel 9, verse 1. In the first years, Darius, the Medes and Persians, the son of the Ars of the seed of the Medes, which were made king over the realm of the Chaldeans. In the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by books the number of years wherefore the word of the Lord came unto Jeremiah the prophet, that he would accomplish 70 years in the desolation of Jerusalem. So he told them they was going to, Jeremiah told them they was going to Babylon and stay in Babylon for 70 years. Then it was going to come out. And it's nothing on his planet going to stop there. And when 70 years is up, we see he showed up. Same way he did right here. Time up. That's what we're looking at. Time ran out. But they didn't went through our books. Tamper with him, but that still ain't stopping because he says he promised us he's going to pour his spirit out on us in the last days. In Isaiah 44, 1-5. He's going to recount and remember and start searching out the books. And because of that, he's going to start bringing the books to us. That's why these books start to pop up from all over the place. You're able to connect dots. And like I said before, nowhere in the Tanakh, nowhere in these books, there ain't no JC. Nobody prophesied about no JC. That's a concoction of the European and Esau. Concocted him. Why would they give us the God that showed up in Egypt? Why would you, if you, after all the shit you done done, why would you give us that God? So we can call him. Because he got a name. So why would you give us the God for us to call him? When you know what he's gonna do when he comes. No, they gave us something no fictitious as God. They concocted. And we made it good. Because of the gifts that he gave us. We can create, get a choir and go to singing about him and make him good. Or get a preacher and go to dancing and make it good. With the gifts he gave us to worship him with. But like I said before, where we at now is you're gonna have to unask that. That's how he works. You can try to hang on to it all you want. You can come up missing or you can deal with it. Get on the good foot. But you're gonna have to cough it up because it ain't got nothing to do with us. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, Peter and Paul. They ain't got nothing to do. Polycarp, the founding forefathers, whatever they want to call them, church fathers. They don't have nothing to do with us. And you're gonna have to unask it. One way or another. Okay. So with that being said, anybody got any questions or comments before we vacate the premises? Everybody good?
I'm good. Shalom, I'm good.
I'm good.
Yeah. Okay, so I see everybody tomorrow for our reading through the Tanakh. Shalom, shalom, and another shalom.
Shalom, fam.
Shalom, shalom, everyone.